This module provides an introduction to the Total Official Support for Sustainable Development, in short, TOSSD. The module is split in 6 sections. What is TOSSD? Why is TOSSD needed? The benefits of TOSSD, the work of the International TOSSD Task Force, a section on collecting TOSSD data, and a summary of key points. The objective of this module is to provide an introduction to the concept, rationale, and current implementation status of TOSSD. After this module, you will be able to understand what TOSSD is about, describe its basic components and its 2 pillars, indicate at least 3 benefits of TOSSD, know a few elements of history about TOSSD, describe the current governance structure and how TOSSD is developed, describe the upcoming key milestones for TOSSD, and know where to find basic information on TOSSD. The first section provides an overview of TOSSD. TOSSD is a new international statistical measure that provides a complete picture of all official resources and private finance mobilized by official interventions in support of sustainable development and the Sustainable Development Goals. If you wonder what private finance mobilized by official interventions is, these are private resources that would not have been invested in sustainable development without an official development intervention, such as the use of a guarantee. TOSSD is a framework to measure resources in support of sustainable development. Bilateral providers, such as traditional and southern providers, as well as multilateral institutions, such as MDBs or UN agencies, report TOSSD data. These TOSSD reporters report data on official development assistance, other official flows, South-South cooperation, triangular cooperation, spending for international public goods, and private finance mobilized by official interventions. While data on official development assistance flows are fully available, data on other components are only partially available internationally, hence the importance of TOSSD. Activities reported by providers then go through a sustainability test. This means that the TOSSD Task Force Secretariat checks whether these activities contribute to sustainable development or not. If they do not support sustainable development, they are excluded from TOSSD. In the TOSSD framework, data are presented in 2 pillars. Pillar 1 that captures cross-border flows to TOSSD-eligible countries, and Pillar 2 that captures global and regional expenditures for international public goods. In addition, private finance mobilized is presented separately. There are several main differences between TOSSD and ODA. The objective of TOSSD is to measure the resources in support of sustainable development, while ODA measures donor effort. The key eligibility criterion of TOSSD is whether resources support sustainable development, while for ODA they must support the economic development and welfare of developing countries. Moreover, the main focus of TOSSD is on recipient countries, while ODA focuses on providers. In TOSSD, the scope of flows captured is broader than in ODA. TOSSD captures officially supported flows, which includes official flows, both concessional and non-concessional, as well as private finance mobilized through official interventions. In ODA, only concessional official flows are captured. TOSSD and ODA also differ in terms of measurement. TOSSD measures cash flows, while ODA measures the grant equivalent of resources. Both measures take as a basis the OECD DAC list of ODA recipients for recipient countries, but TOSSD leaves the option open for other countries to opt in as well. Another difference is that TOSSD aims to include all providers as TOSSD reporters, while ODA reporters are OECD DAC countries and some non-DAC countries. The last difference between the 2 measures is that TOSSD aims to be driven by the international community with strong UN involvement, while ODA is OECD DAC driven. ODA and TOSSD present 2 different perspectives. ODA takes a provider perspective. In the ODA system, bilateral providers report activities they undertake directly with the recipient country, represented by the A1 arrow on this figure. They also report on flows to multilateral institutions, A2 and A3. To complement information on resources to developing countries, Multilateral institutions also report on their core resources in the system. The TOSSD system takes a recipient perspective. Bilateral providers also report activities they undertake directly with the recipient country, A1, but in the TOSSD system, it is multilateral providers that report on activities that they implement rather than providers, since they have more granular information at their disposal. In practice, multilateral institutions report on B1 and B2 flows. If a multilateral provider reports on all outflows, then inflows, A2 and A3 contributions from bilateral providers to that organization will be removed from TOSSD to avoid double counting. As an interim arrangement, if a multilateral institution does not yet report to TOSSD, then inflows to this multilateral are included in the TOSSD framework. These two boxes summarize the two different perspectives. In TOSSD, sustainable development is defined as development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. This definition was first used in the Brundtland Report of 1987. Furthermore, sustainable development in the TOSSD context is inherently linked to the Sustainable Development Goals as agreed in the 2030 Agenda. An activity is deemed to support sustainable development if it directly contributes to at least one of the SDG targets and if no substantial detrimental effect is anticipated on one or more of the other targets. In the past years, several key milestones were reached. In July 2015, the international community committed to open, inclusive and transparent discussions on the new measure of TOSSD in the Addis Ababa Action Agenda, paragraph 55, which provides a strong political anchorage for TOSSD. In 2017, the International TOSSD Task Force was established. 2 years later, a first version of the TOSSD methodology was finalized and a TOSSD data survey was carried out. In 2020, the UN Statistical Commission mandated a working group to develop a proposal for an indicator on the measurement of development support to inform Target 17.3 of the Global SDG Indicator Framework. This proposal will be presented at the UN Statistical Commission in March 2022, taking into account the TOSSD methodology. Moreover, the first regular data collection round was carried out. In 2021, the TOSSD.org website was launched together with the TOSSD data visualization tool called TOSSD Online. The second regular data collection round on 2020 activities is also ongoing. The second section of this presentation deals with why TOSSD is needed. The financial landscape for sustainable development has changed drastically in the last few decades. TOSSD aims to better reflect this complex landscape compared to existing international statistics on development finance. First, more actors have emerged, such as new multilateral institutions, southern providers, development finance institutions, as well as philanthropic foundations for development. Second, financial instruments beyond loans and grants, such as syndicated loans or guarantees, are increasingly used by development finance stakeholders. Lastly, development finance focuses more and more on sustainability. TOSSD Pillar 2 will capture resources in support of international public goods, development enablers, and to address global challenges. Capturing these resources in TOSSD helps to valorize all aspects of the 2030 Agenda. Examples of activities captured in Pillar 2 include global and regional norm setting, climate change mitigation, biodiversity, and the support to refugees. The third section relates to the benefits of TOSSD. TOSSD brings three main benefits to recipients of development cooperation. First, it enhances transparency and accountability. In practice, TOSSD provides more granular information on resources available for recipient countries' sustainable development. TOSSD can also be used as a data source to compile statistics at the recipient country level, including for the balance of payments. Second, TOSSD is useful for development planning. For example, it can improve how financing packages are put together. Third, TOSSD improves SDG monitoring because it allows countries to view, monitor, and track all officially supported resources by SDG goals and targets. TOSSD brings three main benefits to providers of development cooperation. First, TOSSD valorizes a greater set of resources and actors as it includes South-South and triangular cooperation, private finance mobilized by official interventions, and non-concessional resources. Second, TOSSD provides a comprehensive reflection of global contributions to sustainable development. Third, TOSSD is an international reporting framework with an inclusive governance system. Southern providers, recipient countries, traditional providers, and multilateral organizations decide collectively on what and how sustainable development is recorded. Experts are consulted on specific issues, for example on peace and security and communicable diseases. The CSO community also participates in the task force as an observer. The TOSSD Task Force Secretariat is carrying out a series of country and thematic pilot studies to test the TOSSD methodology and make sure that the framework addresses the information needs of recipient countries. In total, the Task Force Secretariat has carried out 10 pilot studies, including 7 country pilot studies, 2 thematic pilot studies on peace and security and health, as well as a data pilot. Some key findings of the pilots are presented on this slide. For Indonesia, TOSSD could fill key information gaps on private finance mobilized by official interventions and make its development cooperation program more visible. TOSSD enhances Costa Rica's visibility as a world leader on sustainability, potentially boosting external resources for this agenda. Moreover, TOSSD would give the opportunity to Nigeria to develop a centralized database for the country's contributions to sustainable development as a provider. Lastly, TOSSD has the potential to provide greater transparency of development cooperation data and fill key information gaps for Burkina Faso's development cooperation report. TOSSD brings 3 main benefits to multilateral institutions. First, TOSSD provides a more accurate and comprehensive picture of their portfolio by including both earmarked and core-funded activities by these institutions. Second, TOSSD improves transparency on activities related to the Global Development Agenda. For example, it includes activities linked to international public goods that are not ODA eligible, such as standard-setting activities. Third, TOSSD gives greater visibility to their non-concessional portfolio. TOSSD covers both concessional and non-concessional activities funded by multilateral institutions. Section 4 provides an overview of the work of the International TOSSD Task Force.
The International TOSSD Task Force was established in 2017 following the call at the Third International Conference on Financing for Development. Its mandate is to develop and maintain the TOSSD framework, such as the definitions, measurement parameters, the methodologies, and the eligibility criteria of TOSSD. All documents are posted on the TOSSD Task Force website to allow for open, inclusive, and transparent discussions. The main output of the task force is the TOSSD reporting instructions, which are the TOSSD statistical methodology. Representatives of South Africa and the European Union currently chair the TOSSD task force. As of April 2021, the task force has 27 members, including 23 countries and 4 multilateral institutions, as well as 7 observers. The participants in the task force are statistical and development policy experts from provider countries, recipient countries, and multilateral organizations. The civil society community also participates in the task force as observers. The 5th section deals with the data collection process of TOSSD. The first TOSSD data collection, carried out on 2019 expenditures, was very successful, with 92 respondents, including 43 countries and 49 multilateral organizations. Additionally, first-time data from 13 countries and multilateral entities were collected. As of 12 April 2021, total official support for sustainable development amounted to $296 billion of official support to both Pillar 1 and Pillar 2 in gross disbursements, and $47 billion of mobilized resources from the private sector. These figures were slightly adjusted since then to reflect improvements in the data. TOSSD data for 2019 captured close to 60,000 activities not reported so far compared to OECD statistics on development finance, representing an additional $76 billion in official support. For Pillar 1, this included an additional 41,000 activities, and for Pillar 2, 18,000 activities. TOSSD also discloses additional details on multilateral activities. Pillar 1 helps to provide more transparency to recipient countries. For example, for a country like Guatemala, 228 additional activities were reported, which represents an increase of 37% compared to existing OECD statistics on concessional development finance, ODA plus multilateral outflows. Pillar 1 also offers more details on multilateral activities. Multilateral institutions report in TOSSD activities funded with both core and non-core contributions, offering more details on these activities. For example, additional detail for a very important portion of UNDP activities is now provided thanks to TOSSD. Moreover, there is new data and additional details on MDBs and their trust funds operations. Pillar 2 provides the first official statistics on the financing of international public goods, or IPGs. 65% of the financing for IPGs captured in TOSSD is additional compared to OECD statistics on development finance. Most of these additional resources are expenditures on domestic and bilateral activities that contribute to international public goods. Pillar 2 includes data on international public goods in a wide range of areas, such as biodiversity. For example, Costa Rica's budgetary expenditures on conservation areas, amounting to $59 million, are included in TOSSD. TOSSD can also be used as a framework to capture contributions to control the COVID-19 pandemic and other infectious diseases. Available TOSSD data for 2019 showed that TOSSD can track international partnerships on the development of a next-generation influenza vaccine and can, in the same way, track contributions to control the COVID-19 pandemic. This initiative is worth $11 million. Additionally, Pillar 2 includes a wide range of activities, such as those on international partnerships to develop clean energy facilities. For example, the international partnerships for the development of fusion energy, such as the Divertor Tokamak test facility. This is part of the ITER project on nuclear fusion energy, a collaboration among various northern and southern countries for $250 million. Countries and multilateral institutions are invited to join the expanding TOSSD task force that is developing the TOSSD framework. For example, in 2020-2021, Brazil, Chile, Egypt, and Gabon became members. Germany, Mexico, Romania, the Russian Federation, and CSOs became observers. Also, discussions at the UN are currently taking place on an indicator for target 17.3 of the Global SDG Indicator Framework, and these discussions consider TOSSD methodologies as a basis for the indicator. Discussions will conclude in Q4 2021 for consideration at the March 2022 UN Statistical Commission. Finally, in 2021, the TOSSD Task Force Secretariat is carrying out capacity building seminars and several pilot studies on TOSSD, for example, on the topic of health as an international public good or a TOSSD country pilot study with Chile. The TOSSD data collection cycle is comprised of several phases. The submission by countries and organizations of their TOSSD data to the TOSSD Secretariat, the verification of data by the Secretariat, feedback by the Secretariat to the countries and institutions on their submissions, followed by the validation and publication of TOSSD data. In 2021, data are collected on 2020 activities. For 2021, providers submit their TOSSD Pillar 1 data by 31 of July and their Pillar 2 data by 1st of October. After verification, feedback, and validation, TOSSD data are published in December. All TOSSD data are published on the TOSSD data visualization tool accessible at tossd.online. This offers the possibility to download TOSSD data. Some graphs are also available in this tool for easy data visualization. Section 6 provides a summary of the key points of this module. TOSSD is a new international statistical measure that provides a complete picture of all official resources and private finance mobilized by official interventions in support of sustainable development and the SDGs. TOSSD tracks cross-border flows in Pillar 1 and contributions to international public goods in Pillar 2. TOSSD brings benefits to both recipient and provider countries and greater transparency of development cooperation data. An inclusive international task force develops and maintains the TOSSD methodology. The first round of data collection took place in 2020 and the 2021 data collection on 2020 expenditures is ongoing. Data on 2019 expenditures are available at TOSSD.online. Moreover, a working group under the UN Statistical Commission was created in March 2020 to develop an indicator on the measurement of development support for Target 17.3 of the Global SDG Indicator Framework by March 2022, taking into account the TOSSD methodology. Further information is available on the TOSSD website. Do not hesitate to visit tossd.org and tossd.online for more infographics or videos on TOSSD. The TOSSD website notably includes key pilot studies as well as other important reference documents. Thank you very much. This is the end of this presentation.